Ntanti supporting Kagiso Malinga, the 30-year-old former SuperSport United and Morocco Swallows striker, who had a little bit of a flu, and therefore he didn't play in the match against AmaZulu last week, but he's back in the starting lineup today. Coach Mangoba Ngliti had a birthday last week and wasn't able to celebrate that with a victory, but is he going to be able to enjoy a belated birthday for this one? It's really going to be an intriguing one. Stellenbosch FC making just the 2 changes then. Back comes Tato Kiba, the former TX Galaxy player, from suspension. He'll start for the 21st time today for the side from the Winelands. And Janino Palace will take the place of Sanele Barnes, who scored in both of the previous matches, 1-0 against AmaZulu and Chippa United, respectively, with Barnes getting a bit of a rest, and Chumani Butsaka, who picked up a bit of a knock against Chippa United on Wednesday, also is rested for this one, although he does find himself amongst the substitutes. Strong lineup from Steve Barker, freshly back from his exploits on the African continent, where he lost in the semi-finals of the CAF Confederation Cup against Simba of Tanzania. Oscarine Masaluka, character in his own right, he's started goal for the 6th time today for Stellenbosch FC. Enyinaya was very impressive, the Nigerian fullback, against Chippa United on Wednesday night, as was Mbalawisani Toure and Bassadine. Kiba and Palace on the flanks, and watch out for Andre de Jong, who for the 2nd season in a row has scored in every competition. Maybe more last season than this season, but this season he scored in every competition. Just 1 single goal, but he has contributed in the Carling Knockout, the MTN8, the Nedbank Cup and the Premier League. We're underway then in Hammersdale. It is Lamontville Golden Arrows in their traditional home strip of the green and yellow, who will attack the goal to the left-hand side of your screen. Stellenbosch FC in all white will play from left to right during the course of the first 45 minutes. The pitch certainly has dried out considerably since that AmaZulu match a week ago. Not much rain since then, although there was just a little sprinkling of it yesterday down in this part of the world. The team's looking for a bright start in this one. Stikle Nduli with a touch. He played for the 100th time on Wednesday night against Chippa United. Picked up the Player of the Match award as well in his holding midfield position. He'll be hoping for a similar performance today. Man in your picture is Sianda Ntanti, 21-year-old who's come through the junior ranks. He's a very brisk player on the flanks, and they'll be looking for him and Maxwell to supply that sort of pressure. But ball almost given away there to Janino Palace, the former Maritzburg United youngster. Starts for the 8th time this afternoon, and ball given away in defense here for Lamontville Golden Arrows. Lots of white jerseys behind the ball, and nothing really giving as far as possession to Arrows is concerned, and no box entries prevalent so far in the opening 2 minutes of this encounter. As we said, a crucial one for both sides. Lamontville Golden Arrows after this one still have another 5 matches that they need to play, and a maximum of 44 points that they can accumulate, and we've done the sums as far as that's concerned. Stellenbosch FC hoping to get back into 3rd position on the table, ahead of Sekhukhune United, and bump Sekhukhune United into 4th place, and again claim a place in the CAF Confederation Cup. We know that Mamelodi Sundowns and Orlando Pirates more than likely to play in the CAF Champions League, and therefore whoever wins the cup final, which is next week, and today's derby, a rehearsal for the Nedbank Cup final at the Moses Mabhida Stadium next Saturday. But Kaizer Chiefs then guaranteed a place in the CAF Confederation Cup for the first time in an awfully long time, and therefore the only other place available is 3rd place on the table. And so that's the battle between Sekhukhune United and Stellenbosch FC. So crucial points here for Stellenbosch FC. Don't forget that Sekhukhune United are playing at 5:30 this afternoon away against Magesi, who are in absolutely ridiculous form at the moment, and that's a positive thing. So Vinalo Tlele had a good match against AmaZulu. Tato Kiba a little bit tentative, ball given away to Abba van der Westende, and they've got some good players. This is Maxwell. A little look up from Maxwell. Wasn't really convincing as far as the ball was concerned. Velimseni Ndwandwe is a very impressive player in the midfield today, playing a lot more defensively, I think. And a touch for Edward Mayova, who starts for the 14th time. And Kobeko Dlamini assisting Ndwandwe in that double number 6 role at the moment. But Ndwandwe does provide attack as well as defense as far as his skill set is concerned. Quite a brisk opening 3 minutes, and all of a sudden it's settled down into what might be the pattern that we'll see over the course of 90 minutes. A little bit of caution early on, and then we will have the venom of trying to score goals here in Hammersdale. Early touch there for Godswill Eninaya, the 26-year-old Nigerian. Played at Rivers United before being spotted at Stellenbosch FC, and starts for the 13th time in 16 appearances this season, so he has been a bit of a regular out at the right fullback position. Sianda Mtanti with the free kick. Bonello Trele having a watching brief, but it's no more than that. Easy clearance though for Stellenbosch FC. Once again, it's Eninaya who makes the clearance. Another touch for Godswill. Safety first on the flank by Nkobeko. Golden Arrows must have been absolutely delighted with their very first match of the season, because they didn't play in the top 8 that begins every season traditionally in the South African football top flight. 9th place they finished in 2023-24 season, and therefore just missing out behind Polokwane City and company. The first time they played in a cup match was against Sundowns in the League Cup, the Carling Knockout. By that stage, Stellenbosch FC had already played 3 matches in the top 8. Little touch wide by Kagiso Malinga. Nice to see him back in the starting lineup after fighting off the little sniffles of early season flu. There was a little bit of flu for Brandon Turon as well when he started at right back against Amazulu last week, and then he took a bit of a thumping knock in the chest, and that sort of upset his lungs a little bit, and he had to get taken off on a stretcher with a bit of oxygen given to him, and we do hear that he's doing okay, but not considered for this encounter, Brandon Turon. So Tava Matlaba, and as I said, of a whole host of Royal AM players playing for Abafana Bestende. Nice little chip down the flanks here for Stellenbosch FC. Good run for Devon Titus. 23-year-old who's got 9 goals to his credit this season, and 6 of those have come in the Betway Premiership. He's a pretty nippy character, is the 23-year-old. Stellenbosch FC will have the opening corner of the match. So they play it short, and it doesn't quite work out. Very switched on in defence was Lamontville Golden Arrows, and nicely tapped away by Thabo Matlaba. Might be 37 years old, but the football brain that he has on him is incredible. All the football that he's played with the Orlando Pirates, and before going to Leopards and Swallows, and out towards KwaZulu-Natal with Royal AM, where he did great work for the KwaZulu-Natal outfit. Tava Matlaba, Shadrick Obedi, who plays in the pocket, Ayibulela Maxwell, Sabelo Sitole, all from Royal AM. And then on the bench, you've got Sipisihle Msomi, you've got Menzi Masuku, as well as Ayanda Gianni. They have arrived in great numbers from the beleaguered Royal AM side here at Abafana Bestende. And Dooley being a little helpful in the midfield. Trele finding Maxwell. Then a little switch of play out towards McLaren and company. It's a delightful ball, although it's been struck a little bit too heavily. And Janino Palace will clear for Stellenbosch FC. Almost finds De Jong. Now Gladwin Chitolo, 150 appearances in the colours of green and yellow. Shadrack Kobedi not playing quite in the pocket because you have Dlaminian and Dwandwe in there, so he's probably more deputising in the middle of defence, the centre of defence with Gladwin and Chitolo, and Sobonela Trele then wide on the left-hand side and Tava Matlava wide on the right. It's a fluctuating structure that Mangoba and Nitty's put together. 3 when they push forward, 4 when they drop back defensively for Golden Arrows. Lovely ball through here to Devon Titus, but good cover as well from Shadrack Kobedi. Didn't have to really make a challenge at the end of the day, and Devon Titus was a little bit isolated. Tele, Kobedi, Chitolo. Consolidation for Lamontville Golden Arrows. Haven't had a win in their last 3 matches where points are absolutely crucial. They haven't been able to pick any up except for a point against Chippa, a point against Marumo, nothing against Amazulu, so 2 points in a potential 9. Hasn't done Bafana Bistende any favours, and neither has the re-engineered log after the points deductions from Royal AM and their expulsion from the league, and suddenly instead of fighting for a place in the top 8, they now fighting a relegation battle or a place in the playoffs. Devon Titus having switched from the right to the left-hand side, or the left to the right-hand side. Pirouette from Sitole. Wide from Sikle and Dooley. Quite intense and content to play at their own pace here, Stellenbosch FC. Toto Kiba. And Inaya. And then Toure and Molowisani exchange passes, and there's not really much that Lamontville Golden Arrows are doing about this at the moment. It's a very defensive structure, and looking at the Combox window, a frustrated looking Mangoba Niti pointing in the direction of the goal of Oscarine Masaluke. But they all of Bafana Bistende inside the half of Stellies at the moment, and Eninaya will win a corner off Kobedi. Frustrated figure of Mangoba Niti. Yeah, and it's a tough end to the season, as we said. Stellenbosch FC here today. Orlando Pirates on the 6th, and then the 13th again, Orlando Pirates, and the 17th, Richards Bay FC, which might bring some respite, although Richards Bay FC also fighting to stay away from that playoff position, and they end the season against Sekhukhune United, who are fighting for that top 3 position. So, yeah, there are no easy games in the Betway Premiership. Long throw in, doesn't quite reach. Ismail Toure, nicely picked up by Edward Mayova. Beaten by the header of Etiosa Igodaro just a week ago. Easy pickings for Brendan Molowisani. Then the long launch out towards Titus. We've seen that a couple of times in the opening 12 minutes of this game. Support from Janino Palace, and now from Godswill. Nobody at the back post for the Nigerian to latch onto. Second corner kick of the match. Slight breeze blowing, but nothing that's really going to upend any of the players. It's a good shot. It's a better shot than just good. Into the back of the net. Stellenbosch FC open the scoring. Devin Titus for the 7th time this season. Stelly score early, and that's a real setback for Aba van der Westende. Edward Mayova beaten in consecutive matches, this time a lot earlier than the goal that came from Igodoro against Amazulu. Well, that's a nice settling goal for Steve Parker. Goal against Chip United came in the second half, but outside the penalty area, really a ripper of a goal into the top left-hand corner, the goal of the Namibian keeper Mayova. Goes into double figures as far as his season tally is concerned. 7 in the Premier League, and 3 other goals that have come in different competitions for Titus. 1 in the Carling Knockout, 2 in the Nedbank Cup for the number 34. So consolidation required from Aba van der Westende. As we said, no wins in the last 3 matches. Only 1 goal. Sabia's goal against Marumo Gallants in a draw away from home in Bloemfontein. The stage of the season, every point very valuable indeed. And as we said, if you look at the program that Lamontville Golden Arrows still have to play, that's not for the faint-hearted, that's for sure. Home and away against Orlando Pirates, who are still looking to consolidate that second position, albeit that they lost most recently to Sekakuni United, and perhaps the league has just gone out of reach. Now, an opportunity for Golden Arrows to pull one back. Nice save from Oscarine Masaluke. Kopeko Dlamini has got 1 goal so far this season. And goal scoring hasn't been their forte. Aba van der Westende so far this season. They're the 3rd lowest scorer in the Betway Premiership. Only SuperSport United and Cape Town City have scored less goals than the 15 that Arrows have scored. Richards Bay FC have 16, and so you can go up the log with Magesi also with 16 goals. But yeah, goals in short supply. There's another opportunity though. Skele! Parried away by Masaluke. And around the edge of the left-hand upright as well. And it's a great fight back by the home side. Yeah, needed some saving by the rather lanky Oscarine Masaluke. Stellenbosch FC leading by the single goal. It's a bit careless from the 32-year-old former Baroka goalkeeper. De Jong fighting for possession. This is Gladwin Chitolo. Willem Seni Ntwantwe. Kopeko Dlamini runs away from him, and that's good defense from De Jong. Very compact in the middle of the field. A little run that's not spotted by Oscarine Masaluke, and this time it's Gladwin Chitolo who was looking for some intent with Thabo Matlaba on that right-hand flank for Arrows, and has knocked the ball out of play. Ntwantwe's header. With a nice little run through the middle of the park by Aibulele Maxwell. Final ball didn't reach him though. This is Godswill Eninaya. Runs out of space. Does Toto Kiba. I don't think he's quite settled down in this match yet. Coming back from suspension as the former Marumo Gallants and TX Galaxy player. He's a quality unit though, is Toto Kiba. Maybe a more of a consolidating role that he's having to play instead of out-and-out attack. And Ginino Palace playing in front of him as is De Jong and Titus. Ismail Toure. Strong challenge from Maxwell. Comes and offers an apology to Tato Kiba. Kiba really seemed to feel that challenge. The referee's called Maxwell into the office for a little chat. Moreki Lekwape is our match referee today. Now, up-to-date scores coming through from the Soweto derby, and slight notification on a social media platform that there is a delay to the start of that match, and won't be the first time. And unless the fans start arriving at the stadium a little bit earlier on, it's going to continue for years to come. One fancies. Godswell Enyanaya for Stellenbosch FC. Janino Palace. Nicely kept in play by Stellenbosch FC. Fawaz Bassadine wide on the left-hand side is the skipper of the Stellenbosch FC side. Had a really good game against Chippa United on Wednesday night, I thought. Forward again by Sikhle Ndule. Enyanaya. Toure. Ndule again. Just dropping back between the two central defenders. Bassadine, and look how much space Bassadine's got, and Sitole has to arrive, but arrives rather on the late side. Sikhle Ndule again. Wasn't a real great touch from Khombocha Lekolowani. And does allow Golden Arrows to try and push through towards Kagiso Molinga. Brendan Molowisani celebrating his 50th appearance in the Premier League, in the Betway Premiership for Stellenbosch FC this afternoon. Now, Godswell Enyanaya, I wonder what shot he possesses, because we haven't seen him in this sort of position before. Well, certainly I haven't. Titus. Little run from Lekolowani. Nobody willing to pull the trigger at the moment for Stellenbosch FC. Kiba quite capable of doing just that. Nice work done by Sikhle Ndule, player of the match on Wednesday against Chippa. Toure gets himself in a bit of a muddle. The Ivorian manages to get away from Kagiso Molinga and then runs into Devon Titus. No damage done as far as Stellenbosch FC are concerned, to continue just to enjoy possession football. Janino Palace now. Devon Titus is quick enough to keep the ball in play. Enyanaya, Palace again. Oh, it's a nice little skip from Enyanaya, and slips it through, looking for De Jong. And Golden Arrows sharp in defence. That's good work by Shadrach Kobedi. So far things going very much according to plan as far as Stellenbosch FC are concerned. They've only had 2 away losses in the Betway Premiership the entire season. One of them against Kaizer Chiefs on the 8th of January, and the other just recently against Magesi FC. The consolidation came after the Magesi loss with the back-to-back victories. Well, that's a rasping effort, and just over the top from Fawaz Bassadine, who does have 5 goals to his credit this season so far, and 3 in the Premier League and 2 in cup competition. Bassadine scored both against TS Galaxy and Sundowns in the top 8 competition at the start of the season. Scored against Cape Town City as well in the Betway Premiership. Scored against TX Galaxy in the Betway Premiership as well. And he's a man who can find the back of the net. His last goal came against Richards Bay FC at home on the 21st of February in a 1-1 draw against the Rich Boys. Sikhle Ndule, Tato Kiba, Look at the space available to Godswill and Inaya. First time ball, it's a difficult one, and I think De Jong did well to pull out of the challenge with Edward Mayova. Plenty of matches to relish about this afternoon, and it's a rather careless pass between Kobedi and Qele. Chiefs and Pirates should get underway quite soon, I would imagine. Makesi and Sekhukhune United a little bit later. SuperSport United, an important clash for them against Chippa United, and City, who are in the playoff position, even more important match. They host Mamelodi Sundowns at 8 o'clock tonight. So many teams have catch-up matches that they need to play, including Abafana Bestende. Kiba keeps Isabella Sitole away from the danger zone. Now Bassadine. Lekalawani back into the midfield. Toure and everybody from Stellenbosch FC except goalkeeper Masaluke inside the half of Abafana Bestende at the moment. Forward by Toure. Janino Palace goes one way, then the other, and ball scrambled clear by Nkobeko Dlamini. Certainly have orchestrated plenty of attacking football this afternoon, Stellenbosch FC. So a long throw being attempted here by Godswill and Inaya. Ball allowed to bounce inside the penalty area. Second bite of the cherry for the Nigerian. Now it's Tato Kiba. Toure. Kiba with the second ball. But nicely won back by Nkobeko Dlamini. Now switch play for Abafana Bestende, who really are a quick and hard-running side. Just completely losing the plot and running out of gas on that occasion in the midfield. Nicely won back by Dlamini. Qele, Titus trying to cover more ground than I think he really can at the moment. Kobedi goes to Shitolo. They look good with the ball at their feet to Lamontville Golden Arrows, and they really need to try and consolidate that sort of effort. Mix up in the midfield again between Sitole and Mtanti. Janino Palace. Inaya, good first touch from the Nigerian. Look how much chasing Kagiso Malingo is having to go through at the moment. Now, Toure gets on his bicycle over the halfway line. Kobeko Dlamini tries to get in the way and eventually finds De Jong. Advantage played by the referee. Now it's Bassadine. Lekolowani. Bassadine again. Janino Palace is available, but so is Sikhle and Dooley, and so for that matter is Inaya. They are spreading the ball around beautifully here this afternoon. Stellenbosch FC. Inaya one way and then the other. He's been flummoxed though defensively, and that's really good work by Abafana Bestende. The build-ups continue. Incredible that Mtanti has to come back and do that amount of defensive work. Lekalawani, De Jong, Kiba, Inaya. Still knocked forward again by Sikhle and Dooley. Mtanti skips over one challenge. And then again the final ball is lost in between Sitole and Malinga. Not really much over the halfway line. Has impressed in this encounter. Yes, there was a little bit of a scare for Oscarine Masaluke, but that was right at the start of the encounter. In the meantime, Janino Palace finds De Jong. Lekalowani. And then De Jong and Palace get their communication a little bit mixed up, but no damage done as Bassadine rescues. Enyinaya. Maxwell having to defend as if his life depends on it. Good work done by Spunelo Tele as well. And suddenly the charge is on as far as the counter-attack is concerned for Golden Arrows. There's a healthy pace to this encounter. If I was Bassadine and Lekalawani exchanging passes. Kiba. Bassadine. Strong challenge in there by Roberto Dlamini again, but it doesn't fall to a teammate. Players from above Hanabestendi going off on a little bit of a warm-up. So maybe some first-off ideas coming here from Mangoba Ngliji. Shitolo contains the threat from Titus. Titus looking to threaten again. And so is Kiba. Enyinaya. Kiba. The Nigerian again. Now De Jong. Born in New Zealand. And another Royal AM player, by the way. He didn't sign, though, from the beleaguered Royal AM side. He signed a couple of seasons ago. That was Bassadine. Nice ball inside to Lekalawani. I think he's run away from his support a little bit, although he does have De Jong quite close to him. Does the striker, and De Jong turns beautifully. No free kick, says the referee. Tidied up by Gladwin Shitolo and Edward Mayova. Half an hour played in Hammersdale. Stellenbosch, Devon Titus with the only goal of the match so far. Lekalawani, De Jong, Titus, De Jong again, still De Jong! Good save, Mayova. He would have backed himself to bang in his 5th goal of the season. The 28-year-old New Zealander. Lovely positioning. Dropped a little shoulder, got ghosted in behind Lamini, tried to slot it between the legs of Edward Mayova. The Namibian was having none of it. And he remains with 4 goals this season, Andre De Jong. And even only with 4 goals, and I say only in inverted commas, I suppose, maybe brackets, but yeah, a goal in every competition. Shitolo Tumutlava. Malinga with that run again. The keeper stays on his line, and Molowisani forced to make the clearance. Willem Sidian Twantwe, back to Shitolo. Building blocks starting to be presented here for the home side. Another home match against Orlando Pirates coming up in just 3 days' time. It's on Tuesday. And then that encounter again, away from home against Orlando Pirates, away against Richards Bay FC, away against Sekakuni United. So the home ground advantage really needs to be utilised here by Lamontville Golden Arrows. I do have teams below them, though, in Richards Bay FC, Supersport United and Cape Town City. Richards Bay FC on the same amount of points as the Golden Arrows. Toure will contain in front of Sitole. This is De Jong. Away by Enyinaya. Nearly reaches Lekalawani. De Jong with a little look up. Oh, it's a delightful ball as well. Titus, offside. Call made by near-side assistant referee Tumi Mokhlala. And Twantwe, direct feed to Mtanti. Another direct feed through to Kagiso Molinga. Tava Matlaba, Sitole getting involved, and all of a sudden Stellenbosch FC dropping back in numbers. Maxwell started his career at Royal AM, went to Chakuma Chimadzi and I was introduced to him when I think TTM played in Umtata in a cup match as Mazuluke saves in front of Mlelo Tlele. And that's when I first saw Ayubelela Maxwell, and I was mighty impressed with his performance on that day. And then he left TTM and was re-signed by Royal AM, and now he's been picked up by another KwaZulu-Natal outfit. Titus Kopedi's done nicely on the goal scorer. Ball falls to Godswill though. First ball inside to Lekalawani. De Jong waiting, Titus waiting. Header away by Tele. Second bite of the cherry for the fullback. Keeper's done nicely. Stellenbosch FC just on the retreat for the moment. Plenty of football that Stellenbosch FC have been involved in this season so far. All the cup competitions where they've had fair elements of success. The travels around the African continent with the CAF Confederation Cup, the preliminary rounds, the first round, second round, and then also into the knockout phases. Here that the matches eventually got underway in the Soweto Derby, and their new signing Lilepo scores in just the second minute. Well, the Lamontville Golden Arrows consolidating 12th place on the table as they will have their 26 points. -7 goal difference, better than that of Richards Bay FC, better than that of all the teams below them as well. And that might be something of a saving grace. Stellenbosch FC above Sekhukhune United for the moment on goal difference into that CAF Confederation Cup position. Don't forget Sekhukhune United playing later away against Magesi. Good pressure being exerted by Golden Arrows. Mtanti the man down for Abba van der Bestende. Godswill Eninaya claiming his innocence. Now keeper and Eninaya having a bit of a discussion. He doesn't seem to be too impressed, is Godswill at the moment, to be honest. But yeah, what is going through the mind of Mangoba Ngliti at the moment? Trailing by 1-0. As far as the log standings are concerned, what we see, a -7 goal difference, 26 points. 2 behind Magesi, 4 behind Marumo Gallants. They do have a couple of matches in hand, Lamontville Golden Arrows, but yeah, I don't think one would really fancy the matches they have to play, because 2 of them are against Orlando Pirates and 1 against Sekhukhune United. Both of those 2 teams in the top 4 as far as the Betway Premiership is concerned. So Chiefs leading Pirates by an early goal from Lilepo. Lots of time though still remaining in that encounter. Here, 1 goal separating Arrows from Stellenbosch FC as well. Kopedi, Tele. Nice little dink from him. Kobeko Dlamini. Maxwell. Matlaba's got a bit of work to do, but I think the ball will run on very nicely for Taba Matlaba. Matlaba again. Kobeko Dlamini. Teles pushed forward here. He's offside. Stellenbosch FC in a position that Steve Barker would love to consolidate. Same amount of matches now that Sekhukhune United have played in. One less victory than Sekhukhune United, but more draws for Stellenbosch FC. And as we said, Sekhukhune United still have a match to play this afternoon against Magesi FC. And Stellenbosch FC have 4 matches to play, including this one, before the end of the season. Sekhukhune United 1 less than that. And Stellenbosch FC still have a match on the 11th, which is next weekend against Mamelodi Sundowns. Away by Toure. After that, it's SuperSport United and then Cape Town City, the 2 sides that are in the playoff positions at the moment. There are no easy games in the Betway Premiership. Whether it's at the top or the bottom, teams fighting for their lives or fighting for titles. Andre de Jong, Titus has made a run. Does de Jong pick him out? Well, he's had to change his mind because he was set upon very quickly by Ayubolela Maxwell. Malawisani. Bassadine. Little turn and run from Janino Palace. Very impressive when he was playing at Maritzburg United before the team who played in those times at the Harry Gwala Stadium was relegated. And we do hear that Durban City, who are leading in the Motsepe Foundation Championship at the moment, former Maritzburg United, have no intentions of moving back to the Harry Gwala Stadium, even after the long term that they spent there as Maritzburg United before they were ousted by Royal AM. Bassadine, somewhat a rearguard action here. Masaluke having to tidy up in front of a hard-charging Malinga. Stellenbosch FC lead by 1-0. 5 minutes and stoppage time away from half-time in Hammersdale. Thanks for joining us on your live streaming platform on your World of Champions. Stellenbosch FC dominating possession. Both sides have had similar situations as far as creative efforts and shots on target are concerned. But the one from Titus, the most influential at the moment. Forward by Kubedi. Chitolo and then Matlaba getting touches as well, but nothing forthcoming from that sort of situation. And away comes Janino Palace. It's a really good challenge from the skipper of Golden Arrows.
Well done, Matlele. Well done.
Nice clearance from Dlamini. Equally so from Malawisani. Bassadine. Toure. It's all Stellenbosch FC at the moment. We saw the possession statistics. Godzol and Inaya. Inside from Kiba. De Jong. Well, still De Jong. Rides one challenge. Goes past Ntwantwe. Just on the wrong side, maybe, of Janino Palace. Looking for Bassadine on that far post. But the cover is adequate enough from Arrows. We hear that 2 minutes is going to be added on to the end of the first 45 here at the Mpumalanga Stadium, which means 5 minutes to go before we have half time here. Really has been a thrilling performance from Stellenbosch FC so far tonight. They had to work much harder against Chipper United on Wednesday when they won by that Tanele Barnes goal. And save needed off De Jong by Edward Mayova. Fingertips from the Namibian. Even Malinga finds himself back defensively. Third corner without reply for Stellenbosch FC. Seen very little of Lamontville Golden Arrows inside the half of Stellenbosch FC, and yeah, one waits to see whether the changes that'll come surely from Montgomery in the second half will bring greater success. Do we see Angelo van Rooy in the second half? Do we see Menzi Masuku blessing him Chunu? Wait to see what happens there. Space at the back post. A slit turn available for Toure. Wasn't able to quite come up with a touch and provide a second goal for Stellenbosch FC. The pressure hasn't disappeared yet, though. It might very well have now. Shot is wide of the target again from Devon Titus. Really does strike the ball with some venom, does the 23-year-old. Very, very highly rated player, not only at Stellenbosch FC. Eninaya with a clearance, pick up by Tanti and Dooley at the same time. Foul from the Stellenbosch FC holding midfielder. Seconds away from first half stoppage time. Free kick situation for Lamontville Golden Arrows. Tanti always involved. Clearly giving the left-footed option. So Tele, back post. Looks like a header from Janino Palace back to Maluleke, or Masaluke, rather than an attack from Golden Arrows. There were players there in the colours of the home side. It almost looked like a header back towards his own goal, though, by Janino Palace, and well handled by Oscarine Masaluke. So 2 minutes added on then. We are in the first half stoppage time in Hammersdale. Toto Kiba, Devon Titus, Kiba again, ball given away by Stellenbosch FT. Tanti surely must pull the trigger. He doesn't. There's a chance, though. Ball knocked away by Basadina, I think it was. Maybe even it was Titus who would drop back into defence. I think it was the latter. And a really good opportunity for Lamontville Golden Arrows. Toure back on his feet for the visiting side. Referee suggesting to the Ivorian he needs to do his recovery from behind the goal line. Let's have a look at this again. Tanti in a great bit of space. And there was the shot. Came off the back of Devon Titus. And there was a foul from Janino Palace. A lot happening in and around that penalty area. The referee wants to have a chat to Sikhle and Dooley. De Jong seems to have an opinion about it as well. The referee's got a card in his hand. And it's a foul to Toure, and I think, I beg your pardon, a yellow card to Toure, and I think the yellow card to Toure is because the referee had spoken to the Ivorian and he said, go and receive your medical attention off the field of play, which he hasn't complied with, and the referee has now told him to go off, and he's gone and done exactly that, so then he'll get some medical attention out there with a 27-year-old, but picks up a yellow card for disobeying referee's instructions. 2 minutes added on to the end of the first half have already elapsed here, but such was the delay in getting the Toure situation sorted out that the referee is going to permit the free kick here for Abafana Bestende. Once again, Mtanti and Clele on the ball. I fancy this is a Clele delivery. Just the one goal he scored in the season so far against Cape Town City. Bounce of the ball, awkward for Masaluke, but it's wide anyway. So at the moment, Stellenbosch FC playing with only 10 players as Toure continues to receive medical attention. And before the goal kick can take place, with Malinga trying to hurry the matter up from an Arrows point of view, the referee will blow for half-time. There'll be a bit of a discussion, no doubt, in the Stellenbosch FC camp about the situation with Ismail Toure, but there's no doubt, I don't think that the Big Ivorian will be back for the second half of this one. Golden Arrows really being put to the test here by a very free-flowing and open playing Stellenbosch FC during the course of the first half, and scoring a goal through Devon Titus in just the 14th minute of the game. So consolidation for Arrows required, and a fight back in the second half. What changes do we see when they come from Mangoba Ngliti? Well, yeah, we'll all have to wait to see what happens in that one. It's goals that win football matches, we all know that, and Titus picks up his 7th contribution of the season as Stellenbosch FC going to half-time leading by 1-0.